Intel exec logs Vietnam chip autonomy ambition. Chip autonomy is special aspiration, but it's advisable to avoid setting too big goals. In the immediate future, an Intel Brothers Vietnam executive has told the government. In 2006, the U.S. chipmaker became the first foreign high-tech investor in Ho Chi Minh City. The past 7 years have been miraculous journey. Tim McCoy, Vice President and General Managers of Intel Brothers Vietnam, said, Vietnam has transformed but become much more prosperous. Foreign investors coming here want to have a foothold and solid launch pad in Vietnam. A number of major chip manufacturers to have set up plants in Vietnam, forming an open semiconductor supply chain. Some local technology companies such as FPT and Viettel are also investing in the sector and hope to export a large volumes of made in Vietnam chips. In April, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính assigned the Ministry and Planning and Investment with developing program for electronic chip production. Vietnam's Advantage Kim, who has nearly 40 years of experience in semiconductor field, said when Intel entered Vietnam, it had to import most raw materials, but now over 200 local suppliers were working with the plant, having created a low process for the chip autonomies. It is completely right that Vietnamese government and companies think big or ambitious to be self-sufficient in chip sources. Some companies have designed a very good microcontrollers for specific application. Vietnam will have a big opportunity to make more chips. Before it sell the plant in Vietnam, Intel were invited by many other countries in the neighborhood. One of the important reasons for Intel choosing to build a plant in Ho Chi Minh City was the stability of Vietnam political system. During the COVID pandemic, many supply chains around the world were broken, but the Intel Vietnam factory was still operating smoothly. In 2021, its output surged by 25%. The pandemic period, Vietnam remains stable even in the more challenging fields. It can be seen that in future, local supply chains will gradually form and able to operate independently. As the amount of high-tech investment increases, production costs will decrease, bringing more opportunities for domestic enterprises. The Vietnamese government can use this to accelerate its ambition to reduce chips. It was right to reinvent, but it was also necessary to avoid being too ambitious in that in non-optimal areas and waste money. Each country should focus on areas where it had an advantage instead of spreading itself to think chip production were resource intensive. Local companies also needed to design chips appropriate for their actual capabilities and needs, he said. Another challenge was human resources. Seeing the chip industry required great technical and technological ability to cope with problems. If we look at the current education system in Vietnam, we are seeing that resources are mainly focused on bachelor's training to enter the chip industry. More researchers in postgraduate programs are needed. To decide chips, engineers need a lot of R&D skills. However, through investing human resources require time and money. This was definitely profitable in the long run. For this, Vietnam need the right talent, and for this ter- tertiary education should have new curriculums. In terms of the laws foreign enterprises, and in Vietnam also pay special attention to link up with universities that improve curriculums and foster talent. 17 years ago, we entered Vietnam and started looking for the first basic worker. Now our plan has continuously seen Vietnamese engineers to the US to grow and develop specialized technology. Initiatives by local talent have been patented in the US, making an important competition to improve the plant's performance. Beside manpower, special attention should be paid to infrastructure and traffic light dealing with electricity shortages in some parts in June. The shortage have been shown, but in the long term, investors would need sufficient land to ensure reliable power availability. After pandemic, many neighboring countries have to come up with incentives to get major international investors come and set up the supply chain. Vietnam too should have appropriate policy retain existing investors and attract new ones. The world's changing. Many countries are emerging, attracting large investors back. In Vietnam, we are doing well. India wants to continue to invest and contribute to Vietnam society. Thanks for your listening.